You too can be broke as a contractor in 2025. Just follow this simple 10-step plan. It's fast, it's easy, and best of all, it's wildly popular. Welcome to the Contractor Success Forum. I'm Wade Carpenter with Carpenter Company CPAs, alongside Stephen Brown with McDaniel Whitley Bonding and Insurance. Today we've got a satirical guide to contractor failure because sometimes the best way to win is to show how to fail. Stephen, what are your thoughts on this one? We're going to have fun with this one.
Well, wildly popular, maybe wildly accurate with so many people. Yeah, this is a great idea, Wade. Let's just talk about what not to do, and let's see how many people actually do that. Let's back it up with some stories, huh?
Yeah, some of the things that we talk about are just, you'd be surprised at how many people do that. We're trying to do a little thought experiment, but the first one, just sort of jump into this. So let's say you price every job like it's a favor to somebody else. You figure, hey, you're the nice guy. You're going to get in with that good crowd, and we're just going to do them this favor this one time. But what if we price every single job like that? What would happen?
Well, you go out of business, that's for sure, because, you have to make your profit and you also have to meet your overhead. It sounds like every time we talk about overhead, it's so unsexy. Nobody's willing to talk about it.
I mean, what if we just said, we're going to start every bid with, what's the lowest number I can offer without throwing up? Forget profit, forget overhead, just beat the other guy. That's the ultimate goal. We want to beat that other guy just so we can get that contract.
Yeah, it costs money to make money, and I got to make a name for myself. Yeah, I'm going to price this to get the work. People are going to know who I am. And next thing you know, I'll be doing millions and millions and millions of dollars in contracts.
That's right. We'll make it up on volume, right?
Right.
Anyway, like I said, I guess part of the thing is those other people, they know their numbers and they price with profit on purpose. What a concept.
It's an absolutely amazing concept, but I get it. You build and you want to start a business. The rest of the stuff's not very glamorous. Why deal with it? How many times do we talk about things that we see all the time that hurt contractors? You're right. This is a great topic. It makes us laugh because we deal with it every day. And so many contractors just don't see it. Look, all of us are that way, right, Wade? We do the same things over and over again, making those same mistakes, and we just don't even see it. But amazingly, once you see it, you say, whoa, we didn't know that before.
Sometimes we don't think about these things. That sort of leads into number two. The next one I wanted to go into is we got to buy that fancy truck before you're profitable. You got to fake it to make it. And your bank account may be empty, but your ego deserves a lifted F-250 with chrome mirrors and Bluetooth tailpipe.
Everybody's got an opinion on what the best truck is. Absolutely everybody. Even in our office, we have arguments on who has the best truck. But that's right. Why are you going in that direction? Is it just about your ego, or do you really think it's going to help you grow your business? I don't think anyone pays really any attention to what truck you drive. I mean, it's amazing how little other people think about the things that are important to you. And if driving the biggest and the best truck is the most important thing to you, then running a company on that mindset is probably not a good idea.
We understand that, like, everybody wants to look good. Everybody has a perception. When you pull up on that job site, having that really nice truck, maybe that shows a perception of you're successful. But do the guys care that are working on the job that you have this illusion of success? Is it really actual financial health to have that nice truck when you bought it on December 27th, as I always talk about, and you expensed it all up front so you didn't have to pay taxes? Now you saddle with debt for a $100,000 truck that you're going to have to pay on for 7 years.
Well, I get that. And I also understand your truck being one of the most important tools. I've had contractors have hip trouble for how many miles they put on their trucks. It's absolutely amazing that most contractors' trucks are in perpetual motion and they're running all the time. It's their office, it's their transportation, it's their everything. We get that. But at the same time, why are you getting that truck? That's the question.
Yeah. Do you really have to have that $100,000 truck? The idea is, yes, they're a tool that you got to have, but does it have to be the newest, nicest thing on the block? Again, just going back to some of the lessons from Profit First and capital expenditures, and maybe just thinking about your cash flow. If that $1,500 a month payment on that truck is worth it, or I've seen a lot more than that. But to move on to number three, the next one I want to talk about is keeping your bookkeeper in the dark. If you got a bookkeeper, only give them half the receipts. Tell them you get to it later. Then blame them when tax bill comes and you don't have all the deductions you want. It's all their fault, right?
Yeah, that's a real good track for losing. We're not trying to rain on anyone's parade here, but think about it. If you're doing it, we see it all the time. As like a bonding company, we ask for some accounting records, and they're not just the bookkeeper doesn't have the information they need or the skills they need to produce the report. No, it's not your fault.
Absolutely not. You got receipts in a shoebox that you take to them every year. And if you've got shoebox accounting, I guess, or I actually had one time somebody brought me a literal trash can full of, it was a
Mhm.
clean trash can, but they brought me a trash can of
That's
receipts
nice.
for us to go through. For people trying to get job costing, they say they want good job costing, they want good records, but they're keeping their bookkeeper in the dark. They don't spend the time, they don't put it to systems in place. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Pay everyone else before you pay yourself. You're the owner. That means leaders eat last, all those great management themes, I guess, out there. You're the first to bleed and never allowed to take a vacation, but it does build character, right?
Yeah. I don't know what it builds. It builds a lot of frustration. It builds a lot of family problems. It builds a lot of stress on you. But nevertheless, look, I'm running my construction company and, I have to make some sacrifices.
Well, yeah, and we all say it all the time is one day this is all going to pay off. And again, the thought here, the profit first mindset, learning to pay yourself before you pay everybody else. I know we got to pay our bills, but finding that profit, if you never figure out how to pay yourself, you're not profitable. Again, it's a mindset shift, but a very important one. You undervalue the owner's compensation. Could you really get somebody out there to do what you do for what you pay yourself? Just a thought.
And how long are you going to not pay yourself? And why aren't you going to pay yourself? And what's going to make things better if you pay yourself? And how much stress are you putting on your family? Great way to go out of business. I think that's a good tactic, Wade. What's another one?
Number 5, I would say you should treat your tax time like it's a surprise party. Wait until March to open last year's mail when the IRS come knocking and be shocked when your CPA tells you you're going to owe some taxes and we're going to have to just ask for a payment
Nah,
plan. Payment plans are all great. They're just giving us more time to pay, right?
I don't want to hear it. Taxes is way too much, so I'm not going to pay it. And I tell you what, I know a guy, he says he doesn't pay any in taxes. And that's the way I'm going to design my company.
Yeah. April 15th is a myth anyway. Nobody really has to pay taxes. And
No, they have these extensions. They got all kinds of stuff. Hey, look, just don't worry about that. You got other things to worry about. If you want to lose money, really, just don't worry about that.
absolutely. Let's move on to the next one. Number 6, I would say we only chase the big jobs that take 120 days to pay because
That's right.
cash flow is for cowards. Real contractors live off of retainage and stress and cash flow. It'll show up one day, won't it?
Well, again, you got to pay to play, right? You got a big contract. Sure, they pay in 120 days, but that's the way it is. And that's what you have to deal with if you're going to play in the big leagues.
These big general contractor jobs, they're big dollars. So we're all going to make it up again in the end, right?
Yeah, that's a great tactic to run your company into bankruptcy. And it's a great tactic to lose money. I think that's a great one, Wade.
That sort of also goes into the number 7. If you want to fail in 2025, you never say no to a job, even if it's a dumpster
No,
fire. Every
no.
warm lead is a great lead, especially if they say things like, we don't usually pay deposits. It's okay. We're just going to have the job. We're going to have something to do.
That's right. And seriously, if you do enough volume, things will take care of themselves. And you say, well, how will they take care of themselves? Well, by magic, literally, by magic. Things will take care of themselves with volume. That's another great point for losing money.
I mean, if they're saying we're waiting on funding, but can you start tomorrow? That's okay. It's a job.
Hmm.
So we need that.
Yeah, yeah. And look, you're lucky to get paid. Really. 120 days, that's nothing. And anybody can finance a job for 120 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do 180 easily.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
That's
Now we're talking.
absolutely. How about number 8? Let's just say let that crew manage themselves. No schedules, no timesheets, definitely no job costing, just vibes and Snapchats. And we all know how we're doing, how we got a gut feel for it.
You got to let people go. They got to be creative. And if you rain down on them too much stress, they're going to leave. Creative people need to be left alone to create, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. And we want these people to feel like they've got time to take extra long lunches. And I mean, it's not like they want to have somebody watching the clock.
It's not about just riding herd over them, Wade, but it's making sure that you don't burden them with extra things like extended training and other opportunities that might change of what they're doing and might create something that they don't like, maybe.
Let's change direction a little bit here. The number 9, I would say, if you need a tool and you can get it on credit, skip the budget. You can go ahead and get it today because every problem is solvable with a 20% interest rate and a new line of credit, right? If we need it, let's go buy it.
Yeah. Because I tell you what, tools are the way that you make money. And if you don't have those tools, you can't make money. The small details of how you get those tools are ridiculous. Now, that's a good point. Another thing, buying equipment, other things, when you go in there, let the salesman use that iPad. Don't read anything. Just sign in the box where they tell you to because you really should trust them. And you haven't got time to read that crap. You're not an attorney anyway, right?
Right. And, whether you use it once, you're going to have it for the next time. So why go rent it when you could own it? That
Yeah.
only makes sense, right? I mean, isn't that
Absolutely. You got to own it. That's the only measuring point of success. The equipment you've got on your books. That's it. And the debt, that takes care of itself. Everybody has debt on equipment, right?
yeah, it's part of the business. It's expected. Number 10, we're going to pretend profit is a bonus, not a system. So if there's money left at the end of the year, it's a miracle, but it becomes a tax liability. So again,
Well, with those taxes again, man.
I know,
When you have extra money in your account, that's when you can afford to do the things that you want to do. Okay.
absolutely.
I think you're being a little too picky about that. And then again, you brought up the T word again, taxes. It's horrible. I ain't got time for that.
And like I said, we don't need a strategy. We got hope, right? So that's all we really need.
Yeah.
Why would we do something like profit first and have profit on purpose? It's just going to show up anyway.
I would highly recommend to anyone that wants to lose money on a job, don't even read Profit First. Because, first of all, who likes reading anyway? I think the most important thing for our listeners to understand from this podcast is we can absolutely tell you how to run your company in the ground. And these are just 10 topics, Wade. We could come up with lots more, couldn't we?
We can, and I actually do have one bonus one if you want to go ahead and go there.
Oh, yeah.
This one probably is great for you as well. And number 11, I would say ignore every red flag until it's a lawsuit. If a job feels wrong, you got to trust your gut. Stay quiet, keep signing change orders that'll never get paid. It'll be all right.
I think putting too much effort in planning ahead is really going to hurt you if you want to run your company into the ground.
Yeah. Stephen, I don't know what you thought about this episode. I hope nobody took this seriously, but anyway, I sort of had fun doing it.
I'm sure we sounded extra smarmy, didn't we? Fortunately, a lot of our listeners may be doing some of these things or might have that mindset. I might say, you arrogant so and so, you don't know anything about construction. No, you're right. We cannot build, we cannot do what you do. You're absolutely right about that. We deal with the business end of running a construction company all day. That's all we do. And we see the same things happen over and over again. And you don't have to do all 10 plus that bonus. You don't have to do all of those to run your company into the ground. But I tell you what, they're absolutely top teners, aren't they, Wade?
Absolutely.
We didn't disagree at all about your top 10 list, did we?
Not at all. Unfortunately, these are several lessons and things we see every single day. And, what our hope is with this whole channel and our message here is that we hope you're learning some things and taking them to heart. Maybe you're not where you want to be in your business and you're not taking home the money. You're working 70 hours a week and still not taking home a decent paycheck. Maybe it's time to take a step back and, are we doing things the wrong way? Could we do it a little better? That's my thought.
Because if you start doing things the right way, then everything all of a sudden, it is like magic. Things start taking care of themselves. You really don't worry about anybody or anything. First of all, you don't want to show off because you don't want anyone to know how much money you're making. That's your own private Idaho. That's your business. Your employees are happy, your family are happy, and you're just running business as a business. And you're keeping in perspective construction, as wonderful it is not the be all and end all of your life. The measuring point of your life is so much more. Again, Wade, I'm going to go ahead and plug your book because I've sent it to so many customers and I'm just getting great feedback, and it's helping people it's helping people understand some key concepts that they might be missing. And there's an action plan to it. And again, it's not difficult. It's not expensive. It's just a plan. So thank you for that, Wade.
Thank you for the plug. And I've gotten some great feedback from people that have read it now, and it's sort of rewarding because it was told in a different way from most people. Prescriptive nonfiction, whatever, people call, like, this is self-help books, but hopefully you don't find it a dry read there because there's a
Yeah,
story to it.
that's right.
But anyway, if you hung out with us this far, we really appreciate it. Really love some feedback on this approach to it. We got a couple more thought experiments that plan that we hope you want to chime in on. If any of these resonated with you, we'd love to see your comments in the comments below. We thank you for being with us. Please share, subscribe. It always helps our channel out, and we do appreciate that. We do this every single week, and we will see you on the next show.